Ladies and gentlemen, what if the last 10 minutes before you fall asleep could change your entire tomorrow? What if the thing you're holding onto right now, that frustration, that worry, that one thing you just can't stop thinking about, is the very anchor keeping you stuck, blocking you from the peace and the opportunities you are desperate for? Stay with me because we are going to talk about a practice so simple yet so profound. It can dismantle that anchor piece by piece, night after night. We all carry the day to bed with us, don't we? You lie down, the lights are off, and suddenly your mind decides it's the perfect time for a full-scale review of every single thing that went wrong. Every awkward conversation, every task you didn't finish, every problem you have to face tomorrow. It's exhausting, and you wake up tired before the day has even begun, carrying yesterday's weight into a new morning. This cycle, it trains you, it makes you feel heavy, but it doesn't have to be this way. There is another path, a way to use that time, not for replaying the day, but for releasing it. To not just fall asleep, but to let go. To create a space for something new, something better to enter your life. This weight we carry, it's not just in our heads. It settles in our shoulders. It tightens our chest. It shortens our breath. We think we are just thinking, but we are actually storing. We are building a reservoir of tension. One thought, one worry, one regret at a time. And the biggest mistake we make is trying to solve it all right there in the dark. We try to think our way out of the anxiety. We try to plan our way out. One person held creative AI-powered meals and activity tracker. Track meals and activities with voice photos. AI analyzes your data. Get personalized recommendations that actually work. Try for free sponsored of the uncertainty, and all we do is dig the hole deep. The mind, when it's tired and in the dark, is not a good problem-solving tool. It's a problem-amplifying machine. It takes a small comment from your boss and turns it into a full-blown career crisis. It takes a minor disagreement and turns it into a relationship catastrophe. This is the challenge. Our most unproductive and damaging thinking happens when we are at our most vulnerable. In that quiet space between waking and sleeping, we are trying to fight a battle with no weapons, in total darkness, against an enemy that is mostly of our own creation. So let's really understand this first. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why can't we just switch off when our head hits the pillow? It seems like it should be the most natural thing in the world to rest, but for so many of us, it becomes a daily struggle. The answer isn't simple, but it starts with a deep, often completely hidden need for control. It's a need that runs so deep we don't even realize it's there pulling the strings. We live in a world that tells us to be in charge, to manage everything, to have a plan for every outcome. And so we apply that same logic to our inner world. We believe on some level that by worrying about a problem, we are somehow managing it. That if we just replay that conversation enough times in our head, we can find the perfect thing we should have said, and somehow that will change what already happened. It's like we think our anxiety is a form of work, that by turning things over and over in our mind, we are making progress, but it's the most cruel illusion. It's a trick the mind plays on itself. The truth is so much simpler and so much harder to accept. You cannot control what has already happened. It is done. The meeting that ended badly is over. The recording has stopped. The words you said, or the words you didn't say but wish you had, are already out in the universe. They have been heard. They have landed. The mistake is made. The opportunity is missed. The moment is gone. It exists now only as a memory, and by clutching onto it with both hands, by refusing to let it be in the past, you are not changing the event itself. You are not going back in time. You are doing something far more damaging. You are ensuring that the past event continues to harm you in the present moment. You are giving it a life it doesn't deserve. You are feeding it your energy, your peace, your present moment. And in doing so, you are allowing it to poison your future as well. You are building a house for it inside your own mind, and you are living in it. This need to control, to fix everything with the power of our frantic thinking, is the first wall we need to see clearly. It's the biggest obstacle. It feels so productive, so necessary. It feels like if we stop worrying, everything will fall apart. But that feeling is a lie. It is the productivity. It is mental spinning. It is running on a treadmill that goes nowhere, burning your precious energy, leaving you exhausted and no closer to any solution. It's like being lost in a forest, and instead of stopping to get your bearings, you just run faster in every direction, hoping that speed will somehow lead you out. It never does. It only makes you more lost and more tired. The first step to getting unlost is to stop running. The first step to finding peace is to see this need to control for what it is: a trap. It's a cage built from your own thoughts, and the door to that cage isn't locked. It never was. You just have to stop pulling on the bars and simply walk through. You have to realize that control in the way you are seeking, it is an impossibility. The past is immutable. The future is uncertain. The only thing you ever truly have is this single present moment. And in this moment, are you safe? Are you breathing? Is your heart beating? Then everything else is just a story you are telling yourself. A story that causes suffering. The work is not to control the story, but to see it as a story and to gently, with great compassion, put the book down. This is the foundation. Without understanding this, any technique for letting go will just become another thing you try to control, another thing you can fail at. This isn't about succeeding or failing. It's about seeing the truth of how your own mind operates. It's about realizing that the peace you seek will never be found in the endless turning of thoughts. It can only be found when that turning stops. And it stops when you finally see the illusion for what it is: the body as a storage vessel. And it is so crucial to understand that this is not just happening in your mind. It's not some abstract philosophical problem. It is happening in your body right now. Your body is the physical vessel for all of this, and it is paying a very heavy price for thoughts that have no physical form. We like to think of the mind and body as separate, but they are one single interconnected system. Every single thought you have, especially the stressful, anxious, repetitive ones, triggers a direct physical reaction. It's biology. It's your nervous system doing its job. But its job is based on a very old operating system designed for physical threats, not modern-day anxieties. So when you lie in bed and think about that critical email from your boss, your brain doesn't know the difference between that and a tiger lurking in the shadows. It triggers the same response. A stressful thought is a signal of danger. Immediately, a cascade begins. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is released into your bloodstream. Your adrenal glands kick into gear. Your heart rate spikes, pumping blood harder to prepare your muscles for action, to fight or to run. Your muscles themselves, especially in your shoulders, your back, your jaw, and your gut tense up. They brace for impact. Your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, ready to fuel this sudden exertion. But you are lying in a safe, warm bed. There is no tiger. There is no physical threat. The threat is entirely a construct of your thinking mind. Yet your body doesn't know that it is faithfully, loyally preparing for a battle that will never come. Now imagine this happening not just once, but dozens, hundreds of times a night. Every worrying thought is another alarm bell for your body. It's another shot of cortisol, another clench of the jaw, another knot forming in the shoulder. You are quite literally marinating your body in stress chemistry all night long. Is it any wonder you wake up feeling exhausted? You haven't been resting. You've been on a night-long vigil guarding against threats that aren't real. Over time, this state of high alert becomes your default. Your nervous system gets stuck in the on position. You wake up and your jaw is already clenched before you even open your eyes. You have a permanent knot in your back that massages can't seem to release. You feel a general sense of fatigue that coffee can't touch because it's not a sleep problem. It's a nervous system problem. Your body has forgotten how to truly rest, to truly stand down. It's like a soldier who has returned from war but can't leave the battlefield behind. This is the real tangible cost of carrying the day to bed. The day's events are not stored as abstract memories. They are stored as physical tension. They are stored as physical tension. They are stored as patterns of holding in your tissues. That argument with your partner is stored as a tightness in your chest. That deadline pressure is stored as a knot between your shoulder blades. That feeling of not being enough is stored as a sinking feeling in your stomach. So when we talk about letting go, we are not just talking about a mental concept. We are talking about a very real physical release. You have to speak the language of the body. You have to convince your nervous system through direct experience that the war is over. that the all-clear signal has been given that it is safe to stand down, to relax, to truly rest. The mind can lie to you all day long with its stories, but the body only knows sensation, so the way through is through the body. By consciously relaxing the physical tension, you send a powerful message back to the mind. See, we are safe. There is no danger here. You can stop now. It's a feedback loop. The tense body tells the mind there's danger, and the worried mind tells the body to tense up. But you can break that loop. You can start with the body. You can consciously unclench the jaw. You can deliberately drop the shoulders away from the ears. You can breathe deeply into the belly, signaling the nervous system to switch from its fight or flight mode to its rest and digest mode. This is not secondary to the mental work. It is the physical manifestation of it. Letting go is a physical act. It is the feeling of a muscle. Finally, after hours of strain being allowed to relax, it is the feeling of a weight being lifted not from your mind, but from your very cells. It is teaching your body night after night what safety truly feels like, until it remembers on its own, until one night you get into bed and your body simply sigh, knowing that now is the time for peace, the doorway of sleep. Think about this for a moment. What is sleep really? We are taught it is a biological function, a necessary reset for the body. A time when the brain sorts through the day's information, and this is true on a physical level. But if we look deeper, if we feel into the experience of it, sleep is so much more than that. It is a transition. It is a daily journey. We all take a crossing over from one state of being into another. It is a doorway. On this side of the doorway is the world, you know, the world of doing, the world of thinking, the world of identities. I am a parent. I am an employee. I am someone who is worried about this or excited about that. This is the world of the conscious mind, the mind that believes it is in control, the mind that carries the weight of the day. And then there is the threshold itself, that moment of letting go, of surrendering awareness. And on the other side is a different world entirely. The world of the unconscious, the world of being. This is a realm not governed by logic or time or your personal story. It is a place of pure experience, of symbols, of deep processing that happens far below the surface of your everyday thinking. It is where healing happens on a profound level, where creativity is born, where insights bubble up from the depths. Now here is what is so important to understand. The state you are in as you cross this threshold matters. It matters more than almost anything else you do all day, because you are essentially setting the weather for the entire inner landscape you are about to enter for the next 7 or 8 hours. If you cross over filled with anxiety, with clutter, with the mental noise of all your worries and regrets and plans, that is the energy you bring with you. You are essentially carrying a storm into a sacred space. That storm will permeate everything. It will shape your dreams, turning them into restless rehearsals of your anxieties. It will dictate the quality of your rest, ensuring that even though you are unconscious, your body remains on high alert. Your nervous system crackling with tension, it will become the filter through which you first experience the world upon waking. The first thoughts that arise will be tinged with that same residue of yesterday's stress. You wake up already behind, already carrying a burden. But there is another way. Imagine approaching that doorway differently. Imagine through the simple practice we are discussing that you learn to cross that threshold, not full, but empty. Not with your fists clenched around the day events, but with your hands open, having consciously released the clutter. You have taken the time to unpack your bags before you step through the door. You have set down the weight. What remains is not nothingness. It is space. It is a clean, quiet, peaceful emptiness. And here is a fundamental law of nature. Nature abhors a vacuum. An empty space will always be filled. Always. So if you create this clean, empty space within yourself before you sleep, it will be filled. But not by you, not by your ego, not by your worrying mind. It will be filled by something else, by a deeper intelligence that knows exactly what you need. It might be filled with a profound sense of renewal, a healing that works on the deepest levels of your body and psyche. It might be filled with insight, a solution to a problem that your conscious mind could never have figured out. Arriving in the morning as a sudden clear knowing, it might be filled with a simple overwhelming sense of peace that stays with you throughout the next day. Some people might call these things miracles. They feel like miracles because they come from a place beyond our small selves. But they are not random. They are the natural consequence of making room. They are what flows in when you finally stop blocking the flow with your own mental chatter. The key, the entire practice is in the conscious letting go. It is in the deliberate act of creating that vacuum. You are not passively hoping for a good night's sleep. You are actively preparing the inner environment to receive one. You are tending to the garden of your mind before the night's rain comes, pulling out the weeds of the day so that the flowers of peace and insight have room to grow. This is the power you have over your sleep, not to control it, but to invite it to create the conditions that are most welcoming for it. To approach the doorway not as a weary traveler dragging a heavy suitcase, but as a guest with empty hands, ready to receive whatever gift the night has to offer. The practice of non-judgment, this is where the real work begins. It is the foundation of everything else. Letting go is impossible if you are still firmly attached to the story of what happened. And what is that story made of? It is made of judgment. We are constant narrators of our own lives. And we are not neutral reporters. We are critics. We comment on everything. We label everything as good or bad, right or wrong, a success or a failure. And it's this commentary, this layer of judgment that we add to the raw events of our lives that creates the vast majority of our suffering. The event itself is almost always neutral. It just is. It is a fact. Your boss looked at your report and said, "These numbers need to be rechecked." That is a neutral event. It is data. But what do? We instantly, automatically add a story. We lay a judgment on top of that neutral fact. The judgment says, "I am a failure. I am incompetent. He must think I'm an idiot. I'm probably going to get fired over this. Why can't I ever get anything right?" Do you see what happened? A simple piece of feedback, a single event that lasted 3 seconds has been transformed into a full-blown personal catastrophe. The suffering is not in the event. The suffering is in the judgmental story we wrapped around the event. We took a single stone and covered it in layers of heavy wet cement until it became a weight we could barely carry. We do this all day, every day. We create our own misery through this automatic habit of judgment. So the first and most critical step in letting go is to learn to see the difference between the event and the story. To learn the practice of non-judgment. This does not mean you become a robot. It does not mean you don't care. It means you choose where to place your attention. It means you become an observer of your own life rather than a harsh critic trapped inside it. Tonight when you lie down, you will begin this practice. As the events of the day come to mind, your job is not to engage with them. Your job is not to figure them out or fix them. Your job is simply to notice them. Imagine you are sitting in a movie theater watching the screen. The movie is a story of your day. See the character on the screen, that version of you. Go through their day. See them receive the feedback from their boss. Just watch it. Notice the urge to jump into the screen, to grab the character by the shoulders and yell, "What's wrong with you?" Notice the urge to write a new script, to have the character say something clever in response, and then gently, without judgment, bring your attention back to your seat in the theater. You are the watcher, not the character. The character's experiences are not happening to you right now in this moment. You are simply witnessing a recording. This creates a tiny crucial gap, a space between the event and your reaction to it. In that space, there is freedom. In that space, you have a choice. You can choose to believe the dramatic, painful story, or you can choose to simply acknowledge the facts. The event was my boss asked me to recheck some numbers. That's it. Full stop. This detachment is not cold. It is not uncaring, though. It is the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself. It is the ultimate act of self-care. It is refusing to torture yourself with a story that is likely not even true. Your boss was probably just having a busy day and wanted accurate numbers. That's all. But your judgment created a monster out of a shadow. By practicing non-judgment, you are not ignoring your life. You are relating to it from a place of clarity, not from a place of fear. You are disidentifying from the drama. You are saying, "This happened. I see it. I feel the sensation of it in my body. But I am not the story about what it means." This is how you begin to dissolve the cement around the stone. You chip away at the judgment until all that is left is the simple neutral event. And a neutral event has no weight. A neutral event is easy to let go of. You simply place it back on the ground and walk away. This practice is a muscle. It will be weak at first. The judgmental mind is strong and loud. But every time you notice the story and choose to return to the simple facts, you are strengthening that muscle. You are training your mind to find peace, not by changing the events of your life, but by changing your relationship to them. You are learning that you can have a thought without becoming the thought. This is the beginning of true freedom. This is how you lighten the load. Not by dropping the events themselves, but by dropping the heavy, unnecessary stories you've been carrying about them. Breath as the anchor of release. In all of this talk about letting go, about releasing the day, about creating space, you might be wondering how. What is the actual mechanism? What is the tool you use to do this work? The answer is so simple, so obvious that we overlook it completely. We search for complex solutions outside of ourselves when the most powerful tool has been for since the moment we were born. It is your breath. Your breath is the key. It is the bridge between the mind and the body. It is the one constant, the one rhythmic pulse of life that never stops from your first moment to your last. Think about that. In any given moment, no matter how chaotic, no matter how stressful, no matter how lost you feel, your breath is there. You may not be able to control the stock market or your boss's mood or the traffic on the highway, but you can always control your very next breath. You can choose to make it shallow and frantic, or you can choose to make it deep and calm. This is a power you always have access to. Your thoughts are wild. They are like a stormy ocean with waves of worry and winds of fear crashing around uncontrollably. You cannot stop the storm by fighting the waves. If you try to punch a wave, you will only hurt your hand and get pulled under. The breath is your anchor. It is the heavy solid weight. You drop deep beneath the surface of the storm. It doesn't stop the storm from happening up above, but it holds you steady. It prevents you from being tossed around and dragged out to sea by every passing thought. This is how you use it. You don't fight the thoughts. That is a battle you will always lose. When you find yourself clutching onto a worry, replaying an argument, anxiously planning tomorrow's meeting, you don't yell at yourself. You don't say, "Stop thinking that." That is just another wave, another struggle. Instead, you gently notice it. You become the observer in the movie theater again. You say softly internally, there is planning, there is worry. You acknowledge its presence without inviting it to stay for tea, and then without any drama, you return your attention to the physical sensation of your breath. This is crucial. You don't just think about your breath, you feel it. You bring your full awareness to the cool sensation of the air as it enters your nostrils. You follow it down into your lungs. You notice the slight gentle rise of your chest, or even better, the expansion of your belly. You feel the brief pause at the top of the inhalation. Then you follow the warm air as it leaves your body, feeling the belly soften, the chest fall. You notice the pause at the bottom of the exhale. You rest there for a second, and then you begin again. This is not about emptying your mind. That is an impossible goal, and striving for it will only create more tension. The mind thinks that is its job. It is like asking your heart to stop beating. This practice is not about stopping the thoughts. It is about changing your relationship to them. It is about choosing where you place your attention. The thoughts can continue their chatter in the background. You are simply choosing to tune into a different channel, the channel of physical sensation, the channel of the breath. Every single time you notice your mind has wandered and you gently guide it back to the breath, you are performing a profound act. You are performing a small act of letting go. You are saying to that worried thought, "I see you, but I am not going to follow you down that dark path right now. That path leads nowhere good. I am choosing to anchor myself here in this body, on this bed, in this present moment. And in this present moment, are you safe? Is your heart beating? Are you breathing? Then you are okay. The worry is almost always about the future. The regret is about the past. The breath is only ever happening right now. By anchoring to the breath, you are anchoring to safety, to the only reality that truly exists. This moment, this act, repeated over and over, is like training a muscle. It is mental weightlifting. At first, your attention will wander constantly. You might only stay with the breath for 2 seconds before a thought pulls you away. That is not failure. That is the practice. The practice is the returning. The repetition is what builds the strength. Over time, you will find you can stay anchored for longer. The space between thoughts will grow. The waves of anxiety will still come, but they will have less power to knock you over because your anchor is holding you firm. The breath is your home base. It is your constant companion in this journey of release. It is always available. It requires no special equipment and it costs nothing. Your job is simply to remember it is there and to choose again and again to come back to it. Visualizing the way leaving the mind is a powerful thing, but it often speaks a language that is not made of words. The rational thinking part of your brain understands concepts like let go and release. But these can feel abstract, like trying to grasp smoke. The deeper, older parts of your brain, the parts that govern your emotions, your instincts, your nervous system, they don't understand words very well. They understand sensation, they understand images, they understand stories. This is why, to truly communicate the intention of release to your entire being, you must speak its language. You must use the power of visualization. You must give the mind a picture to hold on to, a story to believe in. This is not childish. This is not silly. This is a profound and ancient tool that bypasses the critical, doubting mind and speaks directly to the body. It is a way of telling your nervous system a new story, a story of safety and release. And because the nervous system believes in experience and sensation, it will listen. So as you lie there anchored to your breath, you begin to add this layer. You create an image, a simple, clear picture of what letting go looks like. It can be anything that feels right to you. The important thing is that it feels real. Don't just think it, feel it. For example, maybe with every exhale, you imagine you are releasing a dark, heavy smoke. This smoke is all the tension, all the negativity, all the worry from the day. See it leaving your body with the breath. See it pouring out of your mouth and nostril. This thick, toxic cloud, and watch as it dissipates into the air of your room, becoming thinner until it vanishes completely, rendered harmless. Feel the sensation of that darkness leaving you. Maybe the image is one of weight. Imagine there is a literal heavy rock sitting on your chest. Feel its cold, hard presence. It is all your burdens. And with each exhale, imagine that rock is getting a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. Chips of it are breaking off and turning to dust that you breathe out. Inhale and the rock is still there. Exhale and it is smaller. With each breath, it shrinks. Feel the physical sensation of the weight lessening. Feel your chest able to expand more freely. Finally, after many breaths, the rock is gone. Your chest is light. Or perhaps a flowing image works better for you. Imagine a calm, gentle river flowing beside your bed with each thought that arises. You don't fight it. You simply acknowledge it. And then you imagine placing that thought, that worry onto a leaf. You set it down gently on the surface of the water and then you watch. You just watch as the leaf is carried away by the current drifting slowly downstream around the bend and out of sight. You don't need to know where it goes. Your only job is to place it on the leaf and let the river take it. The river knows what to do. The key to all of these visualizations is to engage your senses. Make it vivid. If it's smoke, what does it smell like? If it's a rock, what is its texture? If it's a river, can you hear the gentle sound of the water? The more real you can make it in your mind's eye, the more powerful the effect will be on your body. You are essentially hypnotizing yourself into a state of relaxation. You are giving your body a direct experience of release, and the body, believing the experience is real, will respond accordingly. Your heart rate will slow, your muscles will unclench, your breathing will deepen. You are telling the deepest parts of yourself a new story. The story is no longer about carrying weight. The story is now about letting it go. You are reprogramming your default setting from accumulation to release. This practice of visualization, combined with the anchor of the breath, is incredibly potent. It gives your busy mind a positive job to do instead of its usual job of worrying. It gives it a creative task, a gentle focus, and through this creative, gentle focus, the real magic happens. The letting go stops being an abstract concept you hope for and becomes a physical sensation. You are actively creating breath by breath, image by image. You are not just thinking about being lighter. You are practicing in a very real way what it actually feels like, the gratitude shift. After you have done the work of releasing, after you have breathed out the dark smoke, after you have felt the weight lift from your chest, there is a crucial next step. You cannot simply create this beautiful, empty, clean space within yourself and then just immediately fall asleep. Nature may pour a vacuum, but if you leave that space completely blank for too long, the old habits of the mind will quickly rush back in to fill it. The worried thoughts, the to-do lists, the anxieties, they are like weeds, and an empty patch of soil is exactly what they are looking for. So you must be a gardener of your own mind. You must consciously, deliberately plant a seed in that clean soil. And the seed you plant is gratitude. This is not about making a long list. This is not another task to complete. This is not about forcing yourself to feel thankful for big, profound things when you might not feel that way. That would just be another layer of pressure, another thing you're doing wrong. This is about the smallest thing, the absolutely smallest thing you can find that feels genuinely, even for a split second, like a gift. It could be the warmth of the blanket covering you, the fact that after a long day you are horizontal, you are resting. The roof over your head that shelters you from the rain and the cold. The simple fact that you made it through the day, that you are still here, the memory of the taste of the food you ate, the coolness of the water you drank, the feeling of your head on the pillow. You scan the landscape of your day, not for the big dramas, but for these tiny quiet moments of acquiescence, and you find one, just one. You don't need more than one. You hold that one thing in your awareness. You don't just think the words, I am grateful for this. You feel it. You try to locate a feeling of gratitude in your body. It often lives in the heart space, a gentle warmth, a softening, a feeling of fullness. You rest your attention there. You marinate in that feeling for a few breaths. Why is this so powerful? It does two very important things. First, it is a direct counterattack on your brain's natural negative bias. Your brain is wired for survival, which means it is wired to look for problems, for threats, for things that are wrong. It magnifies the negative and minimizes the positive. Because in the ancient world, missing a thread could mean death, but missing a nice flower was no big deal. This instinct is outdated now, but it's still running the show. By consciously focusing on one positive thing, one point of gratitude, you are forcing your brain to break its negative trends. You are literally rewiring its pathways, teaching it that good things exist and they are worth paying attention to. You are balancing the scales. Second, and perhaps more importantly, you are setting your emotional compass. You are ending your day not on a note of problem solving, not on a note of lack or worry, but on a note of receiving a gift, however small that gift may be. You are sending a very clear signal to yourself and to the universe about the direction you want to move in. You are saying this feeling right here, this warmth, this sense of enoughness, this is what I want to cultivate. This is the energy I want to grow. This is what I am open to receiving more of. You are programming your unconscious mind, which is about to take over for the next several hours, to be on the lookout for blessings, for gifts, for things to appreciate. You are telling it to filter your experiences through a lens of abundance, not a lens of scarcity. This gratitude shift is the final act of cleansing. It's like after you've cleaned a room. You light a pleasant incense or open a window to let in fresh air. It ensures the space you've created is not only empty of the old, but filled with frequency. It closes the door on the day's struggles and opens a window to a peaceful night and a hopeful tomorrow. It is the gentle, powerful turn from what was wrong to what was right, from what was hard to what was good. And it is the perfect way to drift into sleep, inviting without expecting. This is the final piece, and it is the most subtle. It requires a complete shift in how we think about asking for things, about how we think about miracles. We must make detailed plans and then force them into reality. We treat the universe like a vending machine. We put our prayer in, our good deed in, our visualizing in, and we expect a specific snack to come dropping down. We have a specific outcome in mind, and if it doesn't happen, we feel cheated. We think our order wasn't filled. This approach does not work for inviting the truly unexpected, the truly miraculous, the solutions that come from places we could never have imagined. Inviting is not like ordering a pizza where you give a detailed list of toppings and expect it to arrive at your door in 30 minutes. That is demanding, and it comes from a place of lack, from a place of thinking you know what's best. True inviting comes from a place of openness and trust. It is an attitude. It is a whisper into the darkness before you sleep. It is the simple statement made from that clean, grateful space you have created. I am open. I am ready to receive whatever is for my highest good. I trust that an intelligence greater than my small, worried, planning mind is at work in my life and in this universe. Did you feel the release in that it is the ultimate letting go? You let go of the how. You have no idea how the answer will come, what form it will take, what path it will travel to get to you. You let go of the when. You surrender your timeline, your impatience, your need for it to happen by tomorrow morning. You let go of the what. You admit that your idea of the perfect solution might be incredibly small compared to what is actually possible. You are essentially admitting that your conscious mind, for all its cleverness and its worrying and its planning, does not have all the answers. In fact, it is often the biggest obstacle. And admitting this is not a failure. It is the greatest relief in the world. It is like finally putting down a suitcase you've been carrying for miles and miles. A suitcase you thought you had to carry forever. You are handing over the rest. You are falling asleep not with a list of demands, but with a statement of trust. You are saying, I have done my part. I have shown up for my day. I have felt my feelings. I have released what needed to be released. I have acknowledged the good. Now I hand the rest over to you. This act of surrender is what creates the conditions for magic to happen. It is how you invite the unexpected coincidence, the chance meeting, the sudden insight in the shower, the dream that gives you the answer, the solution that seems to come from absolutely nowhere. These things cannot be forced, they can only be allowed. They flow into the space you create when you stop filling it with your own frantic efforts to control everything by stating your openness and then truly letting go of the outcome. You become a conduit for grace. You become a receiver for the intelligence of the universe itself. You are not giving up. You are tuning in. You are switching from a state of broadcasting your demands to a state of receiving a signal. And the signal is always there waiting for you to get quiet enough, open enough, and empty enough to hear it. This is the final surrender. This is how you end your day. Not with a battle, but with a blessing. The compound effect of small releases. It is so important to understand this right from the beginning. Do not expect that one night of doing this practice will suddenly solve all your problems and make you a completely new person. That is not how this works. That is the mindset of a quick fix of a magic pill. And those things do not exist for something as deep and ingrained as the patterns of your mind. This is not a magic trick. This is a practice. The word practice is important. Think about what it means to practice something. A musician does not pick up a guitar for the first time and play a perfect symphony. They practice scales slowly, clumsily, making mistakes again and again. Athlete does not run a marathon on their first day of training. They run a little bit, then a little more, building strength and endurance over months. This is the same. You are practicing a new way of being. You are building a new mental muscle. The change happens not in one giant dramatic moment, but in the quiet, consistent accumulation of small effort. It is like digging a channel for a river to change its course. The river is your mind's habitual flow towards worry and anxiety. For years, decades even, it has been flowing along that same deep groove. On the first night you try this practice, you are just moving a few small stones from the bank. It seems like nothing. The river doesn't even notice. Second night, you move a few more stones. Still, the water flows its usual path. You might do this for a week and look at it and think, nothing is changing. I'm still anxious. This isn't working. But you have to trust the process. You are not working on the level of the water. You are working on the level of the riverbank itself. With consistent effort, night after night, you are slowly, patiently carving a new pathway. You are creating a slight incline, a new groove that is just a little bit easier for the water to flow into. And one night, after you've moved enough stones, after you've dug enough of a new channel, the water will naturally, effortlessly begin to flow in this new direction. It might just be a trickle at first. A moment of peace that lasts a few seconds longer than before, but that trickle will carve the channel deeper. The new pathway will become the path of least resistance. You are teaching your brain a new default setting. Right now, your default setting, the automatic program that runs when you're not consciously directing things, is probably set to anxiety, to replay, to problem-solving mode. You are changing that through this nightly practice. You are literally rewiring the neural pathways in your brain. You are strengthening the connections associated with calm, with release, with trust. And you are allowing the old connections associated with fear and worry to weaken from lack of use. The compound effect of doing this for just 10 minutes every single night is absolutely enormous. It is the most powerful force in the universe. Consistent small actions compounded over time. After a week, you might not feel like a new person, but you might notice you fall asleep just a little bit faster. The storm in your mind might calm a few minutes sooner. After a month, you might wake up and for the first few moments of the day before the old habits kick in, there is a feeling of lightness, a feeling that something has shifted, even if you can't quite name it. After 6 months, you might find that during the day when a stressful event happens, you have a new capacity. Instead of immediately spiraling, there is a tiny pause, a breath, a moment where you remember you have a choice. After a year, you'll be a different person. Not because you fought a huge battle and won, but because you showed up night after night and moved a few stones. The weight you have been carrying for decades will be gone, and you won't even be able to remember the exact day it left. It will have been dissolved not in one giant heave, but in 10-minute increments night by night by night. Then this is the quiet, patient, powerful work of true transformation. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't demand, it invites, and it is available to anyone willing to practice. Your bed as a sacred space, your environment is not separate from you. It is an extension of your mind. The places we inhabit, the objects we surround ourselves with, they all carry energy. They all send signals to our nervous system about what is expected, about what is possible in that space. Think about how you feel in a cluttered, dirty, chaotic room. Your mind feels cluttered and chaotic. Think about how you feel in a clean, spacious, peaceful temple or a quiet forest. Your mind tends to become more quiet and peaceful. This principle is incredibly important for sleep. You must change your relationship with your bed itself. For many people, the bed is not a place of rest. It is an extension of the battlefield of the day. It is your office. You take your laptop to bed to answer emails. It is your work. You lie there strategizing about your problems, planning your attacks and defenses for the next day. It is your entertainment center. You scroll through social media, absorbing news and images that stimulate anxiety, jealousy, and anger. It is your planning headquarters. You make mental to-do lists and worry about deadlines. Your bed has become just another workstation. And your body and mind have learned to associate it with stress, with thinking, with doing, to break the cycle of nighttime anxiety. You must break this association. You have to reclaim your bed. You have to consciously and deliberately redefine what it is for. Your bed must become a sanctuary, a sacred space, a place for one thing and one thing only, rest and restoration. This reclamation is a physical act. It means making your bed a clean, comfortable, peaceful environment. The sheets are clean, the pillows are fluffed, the space around it is tidy, not piled with laundry or clutter. There is no television in the room. Your phone does not belong in your bed. It doesn't even belong on your nightstand, lighting up with notifications all night. It should be charging in another room. When you make this physical change, you are sending a powerful signal to your entire being. You are creating a physical cue that supports your mental intention. When you walk into your bedroom, the environment itself should whisper peace. When you get into bed, it should be a ritual that signals to every cell in your body that the work of the day is done, the thinking is done, the doing is done, the striving is over. Now is the time for being, for restoring, for letting go. This is not a small thing. It is a fundamental shift in how you relate to your own rest. You are building a container, physical, emotional, and energetic container that can hold the practice of release. It is very difficult to try to let go in a space that is filled with the triggers and reminders of everything you need to let go of. By purifying the space, you make the practice infinitely easier. Your bed becomes your partner in sleep, not your enemy. It becomes a place you look forward to, a refuge, a safe harbor at the end of the stormy sea of the day. When you climb in, your body can finally exhale fully because it knows on a deep primal level that it is home, it is safe, and in that safety, true release becomes not just possible, but natural. So tonight it begins. Not tomorrow, not next week. Tonight, when you turn off the light and the silence surrounds you, you will have a choice. You can choose the old path, the well-worn groove of worry and replay, or you can choose the new path. You can choose to breathe. You can choose to watch the thoughts like clouds passing in the sky without grabbing onto them. You can choose to visualize the weight leaving your body with every exhale. You can choose to find that one small thing to be grateful for. and you can choose to whisper into the darkness, I am open. I let go. I trust in that moment of conscious choice you are not just going to sleep. You are practicing a profound act of freedom. You are taking back control by surrendering the need to control. You are saying to the universe, I have done enough for today. I release it all. I am ready for what is next. This is the practice. It is simple, but it is not always easy. The mind will rebel. It will tell you that you need to worry about that thing. It will try to pull you back into the drama. Your job is not to win a fight against your mind. Your job is to gently, patiently, compassionately guide your attention back again and again to the breath, to the release, to the gratitude. This is how you release the day. Not by fighting it, but by letting it go. You create an empty space within yourself, a clean slate. Into that space, rest can finally come. Insight can finally come. Peace can finally come. And yes, miracles, those unexpected moments of grace and solution can finally find a home in you because you have finally made room for them. If this made sense to you, there's another video you should watch. Your job is not to control every thought or solve every problem before you rest. Your job is much simpler, much gentler than that. It is to bring your attention back again and again to the breath, back to the release, back to gratitude. Because every time you return, you are choosing to soften. You are choosing not to fight the weight of the day, but to let it go. This is how you release the day, not by wrestling with, not by replaying it, but by allowing it to settle behind you like a sunset. You create within yourself an empty space, a clean slate, a space that no regret, no worry, and no unfinished business can invade. And into that space, something precious happens. Rest can finally come. Insight can finally come. Peace, that deep kind of peace that doesn't depend on perfect circumstances, can finally find you. And yes, even miracles, those moments you could never plan, the solutions you never saw coming, the grace that arrives uninvited can finally take root inside you. Why? Because you made room. Because you stopped filling every corner of your mind with noise and simply allowed stillness to exist. This is the truth most of us forget. Rest is not weakness. Letting go is not failure. And slowing down is not falling behind. In fact, these are the very practices that allow us to hear the quiet wisdom we miss in the rush of daily life. When you sit with your breath, when you let gratitude replace tension, you open yourself to guidance that is always available but rarely heard. So tonight, instead of carrying the day with you, set it down. With every exhale, release what no longer serves you. With every inhale, welcome in calm, welcome in presence, welcome in life itself. In this way, you begin to transform not only how you rest but how you live. And if this message spoke to you, if you felt a spark of recognition or relief in these words, then I know you'll want to go deeper. There's another video I've created that will guide you further along this journey of release, peace, and renewal. Consider it the next step in creating more space within yourself for the miracles waiting to find their home in you.